Good afternoon. Can everybody hear me? All right. It's so beautiful to see beautiful people here on a beautiful day. So, thank you for being here. And Jimmy, I'm sure, is smiling up in heaven and looking down upon us and celebrating his life. So, I just wanted to just make sure that I don't speak a whole lot and give a lot of space for people to reflect and to share what Jimmy's meant to everyone and to all of us and to all of you. So, just in opening this time that we have together, this is a day of a lot of different things. It's a day of celebration. It's a day of remembrance. It's a day of mourning. It's also a day of healing. And I, as a personal friend of Jim, have gone through my process, and it hasn't been easy. It's been a roller coaster of a ride, emotionally, spiritually, and otherwise. Um, life, community life is not the same without Jim. I'll say that. Shortly after his passing, I had an opportunity to attend events, social activities. And the first thing that I had to really remind myself is that Brother Jim and his legacy is no longer with us at that moment in time. But his spirit and his memories and his courage and wisdom continues. So Jimmy lives within all of us, for those of us who are here and beyond. He lives within us, and he is among us, and he is us. And so I just wanted to share some of my own sentiments about Jim in a way that my ancestors would have liked, because in my prayers and in my own meditative way through my tradition, my ancestors are with him now, and they have embraced him and have really looked after him throughout this time. So I just wanted to offer this day and time for us to let all feelings, thoughts, memories flow through. That there is no right, wrong feelings, all thoughts, all emotions are welcome today. You will probably find that we will be at times laughing, at times crying, at times reflecting. And this is what makes the day so special, because this is what Jimmy would have liked for us to be, is to be in community and in spirit of him and his legacy and all the beautiful work that he's done. So I just wanted to thank you again, once again, and particularly the family members who are here from the East Coast, who have traveled this far in this way to really join us in this wonderful, wonderful event. So thank you. And I will also provide you with an opportunity, obviously, to speak and share a little bit of yourselves to Jimmy, for those who do not know you as family members, because as you can tell, he has a pretty wide extended family clan in Marin County and beyond. So thank you for being here. Is it your turn? Oh, yeah. You want me to do that? Okay. So why don't we just do this at this time? I'd like to introduce Jimmy's family members, who I'd like to actually, who will invite you to come up. And they are Jane, Kames, Bruce, Nick, Shaylin, Gavin, Pam, Catherine, Roberto, Susan, Melinda, and Shannon. Am I missing anyone else? We're going to ask you to come on up here if you like and if you care to do so.
So I don't think anybody was expecting this, so they're probably a little bit shy that actually elected me to speak for the Geraghty clan, but I'm happy everyone's up here and gets to share this experience. First and foremost, thank you everybody for coming out here. This means a lot. As has been stated before, Jimmy really loved his community, worked for his community, and there's a lot of familiar faces I see and even unfamiliar, but I'm sure, he touched all of you and worked closely with you on so many amazing things, so thank you for coming out. Before I continue a little bit more, I just want to thank Craig, Cesar, and Douglas Mundo. They put in a bunch of work to make this happen, so please, a round of applause. Without you guys, this couldn't have been done, so thank you for all the time and effort you put in, and especially for being there that day, Craig. I really appreciate that and being around, so thank you very much. So I didn't come up here with anything I wanted to say specifically, so this is just going to be a little from the heart and sharing my experience with Jim. As you may or may not know, I'm Kames Geraghty, his son. I'm maybe a familiar face. He dragged me around occasionally when he went to his activist events and introduced me to many of you, and I got to know some of you and really got to experience the care and love in Jim and the love that Jim had for his community and how much he loved to give to what he focused on. And I want to give a little bit of background and I think where this started. So when I was a young man and he dragged me to college in Marin, for the many days, as some of you obviously know, that's where it kind of started. Jim, for me, started his legacy when the Iraq War started, and that was a turning point that I saw in my father when he started to begin his activist work and really started to care about what was going on in his community and planted those seeds. I don't want to say Jim was lost in any way, but that was meaningful. He needed something to focus on and put his attention to, and because Jim was a very loving and caring person, and I think in some ways didn't know always how to express that and to his family and to me and to others, but the work that he did, he really, sorry. You're doing great, man. Yep. Yep. He poured his heart and soul into what he did, and, he was silent oftentimes, but he loved to be there, and his heart was in the right place. Sorry. Stumbling a little bit. Don't laugh at me. Oh, sorry. There was just so many amazing things that Jim had done, whether it was in the canal, whether it was getting up at 4 a.m. to care about his community. Jim, I think, did not always know how to take care of himself. He always put others in front of him, and to this day, I think, even in his final days, he was on meetings with everybody in as much as he could be around, and on his Zoom meetings and caring for other people, even to sometimes his detriment. And I think that just goes to show really the focus and love that Jim had for his community. So I'm a little at a loss for words at the moment. Would anybody like to speak or share a story while I kind of collect myself?
I would actually.
Please, Susan. Wow.
So my name is Susan, and I'm actually from San Francisco, so I don't know his San Rafael community. One thing I'd like to share, though, is that prior to his life in San Rafael, he had a dream to sail around the world, and I hope he gets to do that.
Bruce. Okay, I get very emotional, so here it goes. Oh wow! I took him. See, it's tough. I took him to Ireland, and if it had to do with a boat, his enthusiasm was there just as much as it was to work on projects with you people of Marin. And for 10 wonderful days, we just cruised up and down the Shannon. I know Kames made the elephant noise the other day. He was very good with that. But while we were cruising through farmland, he started talking to the cows, and they listened. They would gather at the shore by the hundreds, and I don't know what they were talking about, but it was amazing to see. Now, also, I guess you all know he loved bicycles and got around that way. So whenever I would come here from New York to work, I would rent a GTO, Camaro, whatever I could get, nice convertible, stick him in it, drive him around Marin, just to show a little difference there, I guess. But it was always great to come and see him here. So on this Irish trip, I in addition to renting a cruiser, I had rented 2 bicycles. I thought we could bicycle around Ireland. And had them strapped up in the front of the boat, and we went off. And the first town we stopped at, the first larger town was called Athlone. A beautiful place, almost looked at night like you were on the Seine. But it was lovely. Anyway, we walked to the around town and such. I was walking to the nearest pub. He was keeping me company. But I said, Jim, should we get the bikes? And the sidewalks are narrow in Ireland, and so are the roads, and they drive on the wrong side of the road, and they're crazy. So he said, no, the bicycles are staying on the boat. We're going to walk. And we did. It was one of many experiences that I knew him all his life. Fortunately, got very close, more than you often do to relatives. We had a mutual admiration society. He was something else, man.
Great. As you can see, same with Jim, the Geraghty sometimes have a lack of words. And maybe just like to be here in presence. So I think more than anything, we would also love to hear what others have to say. You know, a lot of the family doesn't necessarily know the work that Jim has done and the time he's put in and a lot of the amazing things he's done. So I'm looking forward to hear what others have to say and to share Jim's spirit, and would love to hear the stories of the work he's done, funny stories you have, ways he's helped you, any of that nature. So I think we're going to wrap it up there. I just want to say again, thank you everyone for coming. I really, this is a special day for me because this is the first time that I think I've had both family, friends, colleagues, everybody that represented Jim in my life. And this is a first for me, and I'm a little overwhelmed, but again, thank you everybody for coming out today.
Okay, so I knew Jim for over 20 years and from a bunch of different organizations. And the more I knew him, the more I saw that he had this broad and deep community, as evidenced by us here. In order to give us some sense of that community and how far it extended and how far we extend, I'm going to read off the names of all the various organizations and groups that he was part of. And when you hear your organization or your group, raise your hand and give a shout out. Okay? So we're going to go kind of chronological order here. College of Marin. All right. Marin Peace and Justice Coalition. Green Party of Marin. Community Media Center of Marin. Woohoo! The group who made Why We Come. Sustainable San Rafael. Marin Clean Energy. Marin Environmental Housing Coalition. Collaborative. Coalition for a Livable Marin. Oh, my computer. Okay. United Marin Rising. Multicultural Center of Marin. ICE out of Marin. San Rafael District 4 voting remapping. Change the name. Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee. And Marin Community Clinic Board. Okay, so if I missed anyone, please give a shout out and name your organization. Jane, Joel. Campaign to Save the Coastal Post. Collaboration with Task Force on the Americas. Say that again? We were a bright idea that didn't quite get it going. Yeah. Social Justice Center, how could we forget? Social Justice Center was the precursor to Marin Peace and Justice Coalition. Guatemala in Solidarity, and Jim was there. Sanctuary Marin. Such a slacker, that guy. Well, you know, he did it effortlessly, right? The people came to him. He put himself out there and the people came. Marin. Wait a minute, we need to get this one. Marin Spanish Film Festival. Okay, shout it out. Sorry, I'm deaf. I can't hear you. No, really, I can't hear you. So shout it out. Louise. The Anti-Target Store Campaign. The Marin what society? The Marin Hat Society. Red Hat Society. Fairfax Affordable Housing. Yeah, like the anti-GMO. I was part of that. What was that? And then there was the desalination. Remember? We stopped the desal campaign. We're bigger than we know. We've done more than we know. I only got about half of them, right? Marin Grassroots Leadership Network? Yeah. Oh, stop. Yeah, Surviving the Odds Project, which is John Wallace and Melissa Green. All right. Julie. Peace Novato. Yeah, so these lovely peace cranes provided by Peace Novato. Jim and I would go to, I think, the Labor Day parade, 4th of July in Novato, and we would always walk with Peace Novato and the lovely peace cranes. Occupy everything. Shout it louder. Oh, okay. Yeah, get the sheriff out of town. Okay, I think, have we exhausted our creativity here? Well, yeah, we tried to stop the war, and that's really where I think a lot of us met in 2002, 2003. We were out there in the streets, right? In the streets. And I just want to say this, get it off of my thing, right? Yeah, this is the remains of Jim, part of the remains of Jim here. So he's with us, and there was a chair here sitting, like an empty chair, and I saw that chair as like the next generation that, he's gone, but we're going to weave together our communities and our organizations and the fabric of our lives. And there's a whole new generation coming that he has touched and that haven't even arrived yet. So thanks to, his great work. Okay, we're going to move it along because we are like way behind schedule. And we're going to start inviting guests, that's you, to come up and speak and share. And that's really the reason we're here today, to listen to each other. So before we start, want to get a quick show of hands. If you know for sure that you want to speak, and you could actually start coming up and maybe, like one or two people behind one another here. But before we do that, raise your hand if you know for sure that you want to speak. Okay, we're going to do a quick count. So looks like 5, 8, like maybe at least 15 people. And if you're not sure, that's okay. If you're maybe sure, we'll check in again and maybe you'll feel moved to do so. So we are ready to start with whoever wants to come on up here and let the Spirit move you.
Greg, is this one or this one?
Does that one work?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
My name is Bernie Steffen, and I was so happy with the drumming circle, and it reminds me that we're on coastal Miwok land here. So we honor that. What a beautiful spot. Thank you, Greg, so much, and all of the groups that are supporting this today. I'm blown away. I'm so pleased. I've moved up to Seattle, and so I'm not in Marin anymore, and I haven't seen Jimmy in the last 5 years. But I did meet him about 15 years ago, and it was part of climate change action, Marin Clean Energy, the sustainability groups, and trying to build consciousness and change law and change process. And when I first saw Jimmy, I think it was in the chambers in San Rafael City Council, certainly he got my attention. First of all, he has such a great looking face, and that white beard was so beautiful. I'm trying to emulate that now. I'm a long way from it. He always had a nice bandana or a hat on, and of course those famous coveralls. And didn't he wear flip-flops or sandals? I mean, there was a look there, but it was all authentic. It was living simply. He lived simply by riding his bicycle that was mentioned before. And he had a very small footprint in terms of what he took from the planet, took from the environment. But his footprint of what he gave to community was huge. I mean, we all heard the various groups that he was supporting, and there were times where he would come out with a request through the media center to record this meeting. We had the Green New Deal for the North Bay, and I do remember other propositions and stuff, and we'll go through them, but it's endless. But he was a reporter. Like today for Black Lives Matters, it's so important, and we all pull our phones out if we see something wrong. And we didn't have the phones then at that time, but he had access to the media center. What a wonderful resource. He was contributing there enormously. And at any meeting, when I saw Jimmy, he'd be the first person I probably recognized coming over the hill from West Marin, where I lived. And so I wasn't as familiar with the city council offices or even the Board of Soups offices. But I saw Jimmy, and I knew I was on the right team. And as we lined up to give public comment, I'd sometimes look to Jimmy for reassurance and would always get it with a wink and a sparkle in his eye or a nod. It gave me more confidence. And when I talked to Steve Kinsey or somebody there that was important and I wanted to know if I had made some impact, I could look at Jimmy and get reassurance. So here's this man that models for all of us a very sustainable lifestyle, living simply, living locally, and giving to community, living with community, and he cared for everyone. I would know, we all would know where he would stand on the Palestinian issue right now. And we all would know where he stands on the mining that's going to happen in northern Nevada at Thacker Pass, where they're going to destroy an ecosystem in order to build batteries to save the planet. It's crazy, but Jimmy got down to ground level. So I give him the award for the most sustainable Marin resident that you can be, and setting a model for the rest of us. So thank you.
My name's Sierra Salen. I love Jimmy. He was always a friend, as he was to pretty much anyone who knew him. I have no idea how I met Jimmy or when. He was just always there. I probably ran into him like every day for 2 weeks in a row at probably everything I did. And we probably just started talking. I don't know why I wore the sweater today. Just I felt like it for some reason. But I don't have any overalls on to go with it. You know, one thing I'm always going to miss about Jimmy is he always just talked incessantly. Okay, maybe not. Where to go with this? Jimmy was just always there. I mean, he'd always come out, he'd shoot. I knew him a lot through video, parades, events, and he was just always there. And he's gone, and we're not. And of course, you know, we're all going to live forever. And I mean, Jimmy had a way of, I don't know, dismissing or ignoring his own physical body kind of falling apart. Just kind of, I'm fine. But it seems to have caught up with him just like it's kind of catching up with us. There's a lot of gray hairs, actually quite a few not so gray hairs. But what I'm getting at is no one else is going to do it for us. If you see something that needs to be done, do it. If you, excuse my language, if you fuck up and like piss someone off or do something just like you know it wasn't quite right, make it right, because we don't always get the chance. It's like we're all going someplace, wherever that is, whatever this place is, but just don't wait. And my mom used to say, whenever you lose someone, go out and make 2 new friends. And as she got older, she added, who are younger than you are. And I can see that I've lost 5 or 6 friends like in the last couple months. And I'm kind of looking, well, I mean, of course I'm never going to die, but, you know, but at the same time, to stay connected, you don't want to be the last person standing in your group, because all of a sudden it's like, you know, what fun's that going to be? It's like, go out and meet some young new friends and stay engaged. And the other thing I wanted to say that I'm really going to miss, and I hope that people get engaged too, is how many of you guys read the IJ or read the comments online that people post anywhere? Anybody? Jimmy was a troll. He really was. Somebody's got to come along, maybe all of us, and keep those people, you know who they are, in line, and not just let them post whatever they're going to post as if it's like actual truth, or we got to keep each other honest. And Jimmy kept us honest, and he wasn't mean, he wasn't nasty, but he would stay there with, I'm not going to say it's like, there are no enemies. It's like I'll hang out with anybody. Anybody that knows me knows that I will, and people that don't think they're my friends or don't like me, it's like I'll still go hang out with them. If you stand right next to people, eventually they'll shrug and kind of go, okay, this guy's not going away. It's like I may as well talk to him or something. But how do we be more like that? How do we keep each other honest? Write what we're going to write. Be good trolls, but and let it slough off like water off a duck's back. It's like don't let what people say or think or do, really piss you off, or don't write anybody off. It's like we've all got our moments, but stay engaged, stay relevant. I miss you, Jimmy, and Jimmy's still here.
I think I'm the shortest person up here. Um, so I'm gonna keep this kind of brief because as I'm looking out here right now, I think to myself damn, that could have been me in a box up here on the stage, right? Just a couple days ago, or on the freeway, getting hit on my motorcycle by another car. So I'm lucky to be here, and I'm lucky to be able to share a couple words to the family, to friends about Jimmy and about what he's meant to me. So I know you guys remember when Trump was inaugurated, right? We all hated that, right? So I'm walking down here right now and I see all these signs over here. And I see Black Lives Matter, and I see build bridges, not walls. And then I'm walking down and I'm just I wanted to just cry, right? Because this is the type of unity that Jimmy represented. And here in this county, here in the lives of these youth, he always would give us laughs if he didn't have it. I met Jimmy through Cesar Legleva at that rally that we had here in San Rafael when Trump was inaugurated, right? And that was my very first time ever doing a live performance, ever. And after I performed live, I started believing in myself, right? I started saying, damn, man, you got something, you got a gift. I remember something Cesar said to me afterwards. He said, you want to talk to that guy over there with the white beard. And, it was kind of intimidating for me at first because I didn't want to go talk to him. I was kind of skeptical, and I was judging a book by its cover. I was judging his overalls. I was judging his beard. I didn't know what Santa Claus was, right? But we didn't have a Santa Claus. We didn't have chimneys or whatever for him to climb down through. We had those little slots in the doors for Santa Claus to come through. So my Christmases were a lot different, but I wanted to say something about that day when I approached Jimmy and I was afraid, right? There was all these voices saying, you're not good enough. You're not good enough. No, don't go approach him. And what he said to me when I approached him, was something very important. He said, don't let anything become a barrier for you. If you believe that you're good, you believe that you have something to offer this world, go for it. And, I'll tell you what, being the founder of a nonprofit here in Marin, giving back to these youth, there's been so many times where I wanted to just throw in the towel, right? Because you give so much of yourself to make sure that others are fed, to make sure that others are getting what you normally would not have gotten. And you sometimes lose yourself and you forget about taking care of yourself and putting the oxygen mask right here first. And Jimmy was that type of person. He would put the oxygen mask on his community. He would put the oxygen mask on his family, obviously, because this type of event right here is so beautiful. If you take a look around right now, I mean, this is just beautiful. If there's one thing I could say to the family, it's just that you guys had a warrior. You guys had someone that uh, wanted equal rights for everyone and everything. And I mean, it just proves it right here. I mean, you got like these signs that say peace. You got, I can't even put it into words what uh, it was like walking into the community media center of Marin, bringing these youth in there, and them smiling and like looking at Jimmy and asking questions, and he would actually help them. There was no judgment. There was nothing like that. And this man would bend over backwards to make sure that someone else was given something that he didn't have. So I just want to thank you guys for throwing this event. Thank you, everyone that put this on. I mean, the family, there will be a lot of mourning, a lot of suffering, but I would just want to let you guys know that, you know, he's in a better place right now. And, you know, these days are getting harder in this country and this world for us to live in, for our children to grow in. But with unity and the unity that this man represented, Jimmy here, I just think that if everyone just comes together, you know, and think, love thy neighbor. That's how I will put it. Love thy neighbor. And that's the best way I can put it for Jimmy. Thank you.
Hi, I just want to encourage all the speakers to make it as succinct as possible. Jimmy used to say, short and sweet, baby. So we, just to let everyone know, we're going to break the first group at about 3:45, and there's going to be food and music, and then we're going to come back and resume our speaking and sharing. Thank you.
I really didn't want to come today because I didn't want to say goodbye to Jim. I met Jim 27 years ago at College of Marin, where I was in my early 40s and I started school. I was frightened. I took the jewelry class, which was a very difficult class, and I remember the first time I saw Jimmy was when he walked into that class. He towered over everybody. I couldn't take my eyes off him. I said, okay, now who is this? He was wearing overalls. He had his hat. The whole 9 yards. I watched him, and I watched him greet every single student in the class. He would answer questions. He made I don't know how many of you know, but he made the most fantastic jewelry. I always wanted to be as good as him, but I never got anywhere close to his talent. As time went on, like Kames said, Jimmy dragged Kames to the college, and I dragged my Anthony to the college. And Kames and Anthony met, and they took over the college. They were all over the place. I'd be in class, Jimmy'd be in class, and then we'd go looking for the kids. And they were having fun. They found they could keep each other busy. Shortly after that, I found out that Jim actually lived a block down the street from me. So at that point, we would visit each other. We would take the kids on outings. We would go crabbing. We would do all kinds of fun things. I remember one time at Pickleweed Park, there were a bunch of the kids, and at that point they were getting bigger, and they decided they all wanted to wrestle Jim. I was so worried. I mean, I saw his hair being pulled out. He lost his hat. I was trying to get them to stop. Anthony didn't participate. I was very happy about that. But I do have it on film, and I'm going to dig it out, and I'm going to post it so everybody can see how truly of a wonderful person he was. I'm sorry that when he moved out of the canal and I moved out of the canal, we didn't see each other probably about 8 or 9, 10 years, but we were always in touch, and we always had a listening ear if we needed to talk to each other. And I just want to say I'm going to miss you.
Hi, my name is Jane Jewell. I'm the founder of 14 Friends of Palestine. We founded in 2004, and we've been working for Palestine ever since. I met Jimmy, who was a wonderful man, I don't need to say that, through my Palestine work. He always posted my events on the Marin Peace and Justice webpage. He was in charge of the technology for that, and he was always willing to post whatever I wanted him to put on that website. So I was always so grateful. He gave me a voice. And then I worked with Jimmy on the campaign to save the Coastal Post, which was a very small newspaper out in West Marin. They were one of the few newspapers in the whole of America, I think, who had the guts to speak out on behalf of the Palestinian people and write pro-Palestinian articles. And the Zionists, of course, got wind of this and tried to shut it down. We formed a campaign to try and keep the paper going, but we failed. But at least I got to know Jim quite well that way, so it was all worthwhile. And then the third way I knew him was through the changing of the name of the local school district, Dixie, which was an abomination. And there was Jimmy filming everything. We all made speeches to the Dixie School Board to change the name and how awful it was. And I treasure some of those speeches, especially the one by Mrs. Sullivan Wilson, an African-American lady, who described what life was like living under segregation in Alabama. And all that was filmed by Jimmy, so we still have those videos today, thanks to him. He always gave me a chance to speak out and give everybody a job to do, so I'm going to give you a job to do today. HR 2590 is the House resolution by Betty McCollum to support human rights for the Palestinian people. Please contact your congressperson, whoever they are, to sign it. And if you're in Marin, please thank Jared Huffman for actually signing on. I mean, he's been a devout Zionist for years, but enough of us kept phoning him and pestering him, and he's now signed that House resolution. So think of somebody you know who's 25 and somebody who's 90. That's the number of the House resolution, 2590, Palestine Human Rights. Thank you very much.
Okay, well, I'm Dan Monty, and I knew Jimmy. I met him about 10, 12 years ago, working on the D-Cell, and then from there, Marin Peace and Justice. Like somebody said, anybody who knew Jimmy was a good friend of him, and that was because of Jimmy. I certainly wasn't, our special qualities. I loved him a lot. Whenever I needed something done, he would do it, and he helped me a lot. And, I really do not like doing public speaking, so I'm going to keep it short and sweet. Thank you.
Hi there, I'm Anna Rogers, and I met Jimmy through Marin Peace and Justice and some other groups. And he ended up living near me and roaring by on my street on first pedaling, and then he got his electric bike. So I'm going to miss him. We used to catch each other on walk when I was taking a walk or something. But I'm here to, I was trying to think, well, what can I, contribute now? And in the past, I've had some pretty good size outside meetings, and in my backyard it can seat, I don't know, we could probably get 100 people there. I have had that many before. And then in the house I can get about 40, 45, 50. So smaller groups are really, really welcome. So I hope people will come and get my phone number and address, and because I know it costs money to pull a group together. You've got to rent a place, you've got to pay cleanup fees, all of that stuff. So after being isolated for over a year too, I miss groups. I miss activity. I miss the personal touch. So do all you groups, and there's plenty of them. You want to meet, you want to make a new group, whatever. I'll be very, very happy to welcome you.
So get mine out.
Good afternoon. I'm Linda Jackson. I'm sure you all have seen the sailboat in the back. I've been watching that and thinking of Jimmy. Jimmy G is how I knew him, what I called him. And Kames, this is for you. So Sarah Stone and you were students together at San Pedro School. I knew Jimmy G as a dad, and there was not a time that I saw him over all these years that he did not tell me what you were doing and how much he cared for you. So I wanted to share that with you. We crossed paths many times, different ways. One of them is the story I want to tell you about the Coalition for Livable Marin. There was a group that fought housing during the last round of housing elements here in Marin. And there were some of us who came together to form a new group to be a counteract to that. And we came up with the name Coalition for a Livable Marin, also known as CALM. And at the meeting when we decided this was going to be the name of our group, of course it's Jimmy who said, you won't guess what the new name of the new group is. MAD. Marin Against Density. And of course, Jimmy says, our name is perfect. That's who we are. CALM. Coalition for a Livable Marin. Now, there's a song, Gracias a la vida que me ha dado tanto. Thanks to life for all that I have. And I'm thinking that it's going to take all of us to pick up from where Jimmy left off. And so we're just going to have to pick up the pieces, support each other and hold each other, move forward with calm and remembrance. Thank you.
My name is John Reynolds. I'm a member of First United Methodist Church, San Rafael. I'll take my hearing aid off. Maybe I can maintain the hearing aid. But I'm an older person. But as many of you are older persons, we need to see younger persons, which we do. And I appreciate that. I got involved with Jimmy and other activists when Marin Peace and Justice Coalition came to our church, First United Methodist Church. We provided space for that. And Jimmy was very strong with others to push the note for justice. And of course, I am a advocate for Jesus of Nazareth, who was a social justice activist in his day. And so it's bringing forth the church to be with the activists of the current day and the current time in Marin and the world that we need to represent. Jimmy was always the presence in everything that I was involved with. I tend to want to be a present to everything that's going on in the way of social justice. But Jimmy went one step above that, as all the representatives here talked about, him being involved in so many justice groups. And I certainly appreciated that. He was one who called me out as a justice activist, maybe a church person, but a justice activist. I was always wearing a red hat. And that's the reason I talked about him being part of the Red Hat Society. He called me out, called me Johnny Red Hat. And I don't have my red hat now. This will have to do for it for now. But I saw several people wearing red today, and indeed one of his family members looked like was wearing a red hat. So I think calling out people for being activists, the red hat is the activists in the world that we need to be concerned about and moving forward with as the church and as people that are activists beyond the church and in Marin County and the world. Thank you, everybody.
Hey there, my name's Louise Yost, fellow activist. I met Jim probably in the canal originally, as I lived there. When he lived there, I would see him absolutely everywhere. At Pickleweed, at Canal Alliance meetings, Canal Welcome Center, and of course on 4th Street. He was always on 4th Street on his bike, going back and forth. He was at Farmers Market's 4th Street for a while. He had his buttons. Nobody's mentioned his buttons. Jimmy had a button machine. Yeah. And so yep, Don has them on his hat. I have buttons he made on my right here. He was also at the EcoFest in Fairfax with his little button machine, and he even raised a little money with it. So that was very Jimmy. I also worked with him through Marin Peace and Justice Coalition. Where wasn't he? He was everywhere. And when I started working on the anti-Target store campaign, Jimmy was one of the first few people that gave me support. And also Marin Peace and Justice Center gave me support. He was right there. He knew the issues, and I so appreciated his presence and his being there. So I wrote a poem, and this is for Jimmy. Jimmy was a character, the class clown through and through. He loved to break up meetings with jokes and cracks askew. He was a true sworn activist, for politics was his game. He'd always trounce Republicans and give them all the blame. He was a videographer. He made a movie fine about the immigrants he knew and why they came in kind. I think that I will miss him whene'er a meeting's dull. I'll try to crack a joke or two, but I can't match his gall. So dream on, hearty Jimmy. Know that you made your mark. Your life touched ours with witty grace, and we salute you. Hark!
Hi. Whoa. My name's Ford Green, and I've known Jimmy for a really long time, and I just want to make a few comments about the man. I met Jim, I think, in the context of when I was hanging signs off the side of my building and not engaging in personal therapy so I wouldn't have to go postal with the Bush administration. And I mean, Jim, his mammoth, the beard, the buttons, the bearing, the bike, and the sandals. And what I really love about him was his directness. You could always count, he was a total no bullshit guy. You could always count on him, no matter what the circumstance was, to give you a really honest temperature read, whether it was about yourself, whether it was about somebody else, or whether it was about his own feelings. And that's what I appreciated the most about him, was his straight up, no bullshit authenticity. And I'm going to miss that, and I'm going to miss the public service that he provided, being there with that video camera no matter what. Not to mention the sense of humor and the twinkle in his eyes with that big old beard. So going to miss him a lot, and I'm glad to see everybody out here honoring him today. So thank you very much.
Okay, so we have a lovely musical performance by Liz Pryor on violin, and then we're going to break for food, and when we break for food, we're going to have more lovely music. So, and after that, we're going to resume speaking and sharing. Thank you.
first piece I'm going to play is it's a little Irish tune. It makes me think of Jimmy. He was also a friend of mine. I've known him for about 10 years, and through his TV recording equipment, he would come and actually record my quintet, and then I would go over to the TV station place in Marin, in San Rafael, and we'd work on like editing and all that kind of thing. And he was so incredibly generous with his time and caring, and he seemed to really enjoy my musical performances. So I would like to pay tribute to that, and I'll start with a little Irish tune, and then I'm going to play something from the Four Seasons by Vivaldi. Thank you so much. Peace be with Jimmy.
Yes, just go into it.
Yeah. Do you want to count it off?
Yeah, you count it off. Yeah, nice and slow. So, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, we never know when
I know it's just a ride on the wheel, and we never know when death will shake us, and we wonder how it will feel. So goodbye, my friend. I know I'll never see you again, but the time together through all the years will take away these tears. It's okay now. Goodbye, my friend. I see a lot of things that make me crazy, and I guess I held on to you. I could have run away and left, well, maybe, but it wasn't time, we both knew. So goodbye, my friend. I know I'll never see you again, but the love you gave me through all the years will take away these tears. I'm okay now. Goodbye, my friend. Life's so fragile and love's so pure. We can't hold on, but we try. We watch how quickly it disappears, and we never know why. But I'm okay now. Goodbye, my friend. I can go now. Goodbye, my friend. Thank you.
Solo le pido a Dios que el dolor no me sea indiferente, que la reseca muerte no me encuentre vacío y solo sin haber hecho lo suficiente. Solo le pido a Dios que lo injusto no me sea indiferente, que no me abofete en la otra mejilla después que una garra me arañó esa suerte. Solo le pido a Dios que en la guerra no me sea indiferente, que es un monstruo grande y pisa fuerte toda la pobre inocencia de la gente, que es un monstruo grande y pisa fuerte toda la pobre inocencia de la gente.
Solo le pido a Dios
que
que el engaño no me sea indiferente.
Si un traidor puede más que unos cuantos, que esos cuantos no lo olviden fácilmente. Solo le pido a Dios que el futuro no me sea indiferente. Desasiado está el que tiene que marcharse a vivir una cultura diferente. Solo le pido a Dios que en la guerra no me sea indiferente, que es un monstruo grande y pisa fuerte toda la pobre inocencia de la gente, que es un monstruo grande y pisa fuerte toda la pobre inocencia de la gente. All right, everybody, if you already got your food and you were able to continue the networking, we would like to invite you to the front once again. Take your seat, and we're going to continue in a moment with the program. But I also want to say something. I'm one of those people in the community who was touched by Jimmy's life. And I had a great honor, I would say, and I want to thank you, Kane, and the family for allowing me to be the last person from the canal, probably the last person from the community to see Jimmy alive before he passed away. And I know and I know that a few people were down there until the clock stopped, and I have been touched by the life of Jimmy, and I just want to share that, like many other people, when I met him in the canal, I was shocked, and I was scared because I'm an immigrant myself. And when I first came to this community, the first things that I was concerned is, do I will feel welcome to this community? And I came to Marin County, and I didn't know nothing about Marin County. I came because the only person that I knew in the United States was living in California and recently moved to the canal community. And that was the reason why I came to the canal. I didn't know nothing about Marin until years later. But during that process, I met Jimmy in different meetings in the community, and I was putting attention to who is this guy. And little by little, I saw that his mind and heart was in the right place. And what I mean by that is, this guy understands why I'm coming to this country, right? This guy is here to support and open the opportunities for us to talk, and even being able to raise his hand for justice against immigrants. And at some point, we were kind of doing a lot of things in the community. And to resume all the work that Jimmy did for us in this community, it will take me a long time. But I remember a couple of things that were so important for me. And that was, one, he always was able to support us. And he was able to be, when we had some issues in the community, when ICE was coming to raise our communities, Jimmy was the first one down there with his bike, to support us. And 5 a.m, he was riding around the community, what he called himself the Canal Patrol. And he was running and driving around the community looking for ice, and if we found anything, he will let us know so we can inform the community, because it was so hard and so heartbreaking see how many families were being fell apart because unfortunately for the unbroken, I would say for the broke immigration systems that exist right now. I'm very thankful with this country. I came 20 years ago. I was standing on the street looking for a job, and later in I came here in 2000, and in 2002 I was involved with the Canal Welcome Center, and I was hired to be a kind of a part-time coordinator, and Jimmy was there to support us. Every time we had a meeting or anything, he was there with his bike, you know, and every events that were happening in the community, he was there. So at some point, I was able to, you know, start working a meeting, and we planned a couple things in favor of our community. We did a couple rallies in the community. Jimmy was there, always in the planning, and also helping us, you know, connect with the city, with the police to make sure we do the things right. And that's something that I learned from Jimmy, and I appreciate. He always allow us to do the thing in the right way. So after that, we rallied for the first time, and we came up out of the shadow. Guess how many people we were able to bring with Jimmy and a few others in the community? Give me a number. 10,000. How do you know 10,000? That's the highest number, I would say, historically in Marin County, the highest rally that has already happened in this county, 10,000. And especially coming from immigrants in Marin County. So, and all the people who came to support us, that was amazing. And we, you know, we rallied from downtown San Rafael all the way to the Civic Center. It was amazing to see how, you know, IJ and the cover of the IJ. I mean, I don't know if you guys remember Lincoln Street. There is a little a liquor store right there. I'm sorry, I'm using it because it appears in the picture right there. From that liquor store, all the way until where now is AT&T, Seajet Street, I think it is, right? Or the street from Walgreens, you guys were, you know, what is the bookstore? My Bikes. You know where My Bikes is downtown, right? From there, all the way to that liquor, you know, the whole street, half of the street of Lincoln was full of people. And I know many of you were there. Can you raise your hand? Thank you. Thank you. You stood out with us, and here we are studying with Jimmy. The best way I was able to recognize Jimmy is to write in a song. If you want to hear it at the end, it's going to be the last song. It's called The King in Overalls. So if you want to listen, the premiere of The King in Overalls today, over here, please don't go. All right. So, but now, Jimmy was one of those persons that always was asking us to take action. That's what I enjoy from Jimmy. Let's take some action. And I want to encourage my dear friend Michael to come and join me on over here. First of all, he wants us to do something into moving with something concrete. And today we want to propose something to all of you. And we have been hearing from people in the community, what can we do to honor the memory, the legacy of Jimmy? And Jimmy, as you know, worked very hard with Michael at the Media Center and with us as well. He was one of my good friends. The last things that I hear from him, it was a quote that is over here. It is time to be bold. That was the last thing he said in the last meeting that I had with him. And that was in my office. So today we want to propose something to all of you. We are interested in creating a memorial scholarship fund to honor Jimmy's legacy. And to do that, we want to ask you for support. We won't be able to do it alone. Michael from the Media Center and me representing the Multicultural Center of Marin has been already doing some work. And we have agreed on doing some scholarship to youth that wants to go to College of Marin, that will be attending, college, with maybe a degree in social justice or something that will continue keeping Jimmy's memory and spirit alive. So to do that, I have committed to $1,000 already for the first scholarship that we wanna give away. We probably will plan to do couple, like a 2 or 3 scholarship a year. They're probably around $1,000. All will depend on how much money we will be able to raise. But with my dear friend and colleague Michael over here, we agree as well that we want to provide some scholarship as well for those youth and other youth to come to the Media Center. Take it away.
Oh, thank you, Douglas. I think I'm on. So thank you all. Yeah, one of the things Jim was always, most vocal and most passionate about was getting youth involved at the Media Center. And he was real effective at that. I mean, he was a big fan of Thai radio, just anything getting, youth and engaged in media production, media criticism. So what we've been doing at the Media Center for about the last year or two is we started a little media academy, and it's really geared toward, young students coming through, learning all the aspects of production, so they can start producing their own work, hopefully within groups. And generally they pay for that, to do that. So we'd like to. The board discussed this. We'd like to offer free scholarships to disadvantaged students in Marin, and then hopefully we can also contribute to the scholarship fund, which I encourage you all to try and do. There's a number of board members here today, but Jim will be greatly missed. I mean, if you came to the Media Center, you came to Jim's house.
Yeah.
So it's not quite going to be the same without him. I mean that literally.
He really used the Media Center to make a big change in the world.
Yeah.
I would say so.
Yeah. He was one of the first people I met when I came to Marin, and I'll miss him dearly. So thank you all. I hope you can contribute in whatever way you can, or just get involved, and definitely, we hope to be opening in a couple weeks. Come back to the Media Center and get involved.
Fantastic. So, thank you, Michael. So Michael and the Media Center have contributed right now the scholarship that we will give to those people that will be selected. We will figure it out, and we want to include some of the family members as well in that process, just to let you know. The Multicultural Center of Marin, we are a non-profit organization, the Media Center as well. But I already committed the $1,000 over here. Is anybody in this group who wants to commit another $1,000 with me? Another 1,000. All right, yeah, all right, 500. Who wanna do 500? All right, I wanna give you, can someone give me this to the gentleman for $500 over here? He's committing $500 to the scholarship fund. I want to give this to this gentleman. Let's give a big round of applause right there. And let's send that over here. Gentlemen, can someone get, all right, I need somebody to help me with this. All right, don't let me go down there. Hey, brother, thank you. Here we are. That's what the youth is always ready to support. Thank you, sir. Give it to the gentleman. He has committed to donate $500 to the scholarship fund. Anybody else who want to donate $500? $500 more. All right. How about 200? All right, $200. Here's another person for $200. 200 more. Another 200. All right. So I got 2-3 people with 300. Carolina, can you help me pass this? Or Marco? gentleman right there. Here, 3, 2. Yeah. Okay. Give this. Yeah. So right now, those has a special card where you guys are making a pledge. Okay. All right. We got $200, right? Anybody with a I'm sorry. We went to 200 now. $100. The last one will be $100. Right there, $100. All right. I can get one more for $100. Perfect. So thank you. There's gonna be somebody right there with an envelope for you down there. All right, fantastic. Thank you. So okay, this is action, right? All right, we already got the first $200 over here. Thank you for your donation. There is one there. You say, all right. We have somebody else down there in the back, please. All right. All right. Thank you so much. So, yes, that's the next thing. So we have passed as well some envelopes with the address. If you want to go home and think about it, it doesn't matter whether it's $50, whether it's $20, $5, anything count. And for Jimmy to keep Jimmy's memory and spirit alive, I think it will be worth it. So it doesn't matter how much you will contribute today, but as long as you contribute, you do it with your heart and mind to keep the spirit of Jimmy alive. All right. If you want to make a check, you gotta make the check to Multicultural Center of Marin, and put in the memo, Jimmy funds. You can put Jimmy Scholarship Fund, and that will be directly created in the account for that. Another one?
$500.
$500. Fantastic. Here the first $500. Thank you so much. We got that. This is action. Thank you. That is a pledge for 200 over here. Thank you, Steve. And again, this is the way we are talking about. This is Jimmy in action. This is what he did. When we asked Jimmy to do something, he did it. He always was even 2, 3 in the morning, working for us sometimes. And I know how hard, and like Jay came saying early, sometimes even sacrifice his own well-being to ensure that we will have a better place in this world as well. And he has changed a lot of minds and hearts in this county. And I want to thank you, everybody who joined us today. And if you want to mail us the envelope later, we will still over here collecting those, and we will report back in how much money we collected today. And at the same time, if you want to donate, you can also go to the Multicultural Center of Marin. I can commit now. If we got to go to the media center and support the media center as well, you can go and support the scholarship that Michael is offering. And later, once we have how much money we collect, our commitment is to go and ask the Marine Community Foundation to give us what do we call? Thank you, a matching grant. I go all the time, and I'm missing that word. I don't know why. So anyway, a matching grant that if we were able to get, let's say, $5,000 today, so that will be $10,000 to start Jimmy's, I will say, scholarship fund. So that's what it is, the call. I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for being, so generous, and also to make this idea, this dream a reality, to make it as well possible. So thank you so much. Here we are. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. And those who got the empty envelope, think about it. And once you are ready, you can send us the donation to the Multicultural Center of Marin, or you can go online and do it, and we will be more than happy to report and be accountable to the community in terms of how we will able to manage these resources to keep, or the spirit and the legacy of the brother Jimmy alive. Michael, last things you want to say before we get out of the stage?
It's just been such a beautiful day here, and I'm so happy you all could come out. And I want to thank, Douglas and Cesar and Craig for putting it together, and especially for the wonderful food.
Amazing food, huh? Thank you to Isabella's Catering for bringing us the food today. And we are ready. So thank you so much. I will be around in case you need to return any of the envelopes.
All right.
Okay, thanks for hanging here. The best is yet to come, believe it or not. The next speaker is Marin Parton.
3 supervisor, and I've had the honor to work for 4 of them. First, Annette Rose, then Charles McGlashan, who we lost suddenly and unexpectedly, Kate Sears, and now Supervisor Stephanie Moulton Peters. Word got around fast when Jimmy passed, and Supervisor Katie Rice, the district in which he lives, adjourned one of our board meetings in Jimmy's memory, and it was just an incredible moment in time. He is respected and loved by all. I wanted to share a couple of things that I shared at the time. I've always been moved by Jimmy. A lot of people remember when they met him. I don't remember. Seeing Jimmy was like air. He was just there. And you breathed in with him whenever he was around. Anyone who knew Jimmy knew he was a presence. And what I wanted to bring to light today was something many people may not have known about this amazing crusader for justice. Actually, Sierra mentioned it, which I was delighted to hear. Jimmy was an inveterate reader of the news. When an article was published in the newspaper, if it was about a controversial issue, you'd find Jimmy there, right in the middle of it. Whether it was about housing, immigration, benefits, taxes, a ballot measure, ICE, equity, or the environment, Jimmy was bravely in the middle of the fray. But also, you had to remember that you had to go where he held court. I think of Jimmy as a sensei or a master of the mixed martial arts of the e-comment section. He was persistent and on top of his facts, and he was not to be denied. Jimmy artfully employed sophisticated debate tactics to draw out anyone whose opinions he disagreed with. He was intellectual, patient, and relentless, often going several rounds to divulge the flaws in others' arguments or the lack of foundation for their posts. Jimmy had an artful way of describing this particular aspect of his social justice work. I can't quite bring to mind his amusing way of describing himself. Suffice it to say, I think of him as a janitor for justice. Jimmy lives on, and he is missed by many, and all of his friends, like us, are deeply, deeply saddened with his passing. But I will assure you, heaven has been utterly reorganized with Jimmy being there. And one last thing I wanted to do, I actually wanted to just pat Jimmy on the head. Because I certainly wasn't able to do that. Look how tall I am, and look how statuesque Jimmy was. Much love to him. Thank you all, and thank you so much Douglas and Craig and Cesar for bringing this circle together. Always memorable. Jimmy lives on with the things that we do in his name and in his memory. And thanks also to Jimmy's family for being here with us. It means so much to have you in this circle. And Kames, much love and sadness. We encircle you with whatever it is you need to get through this time. We shall all prevail with Jimmy's spirit deeply in our hearts.
Hi, my name is Svetlana. I'm going to just say a couple of quick words. I probably have known Jimmy for less time than any of you. I was very close friends with Dave Coury, and Dave and I had been friends since the 80s, and of course I would attend events and Jimmy would always be there. And then one day Dave mentioned that a friend of his was going to be moving in, and it wasn't clear how long he was going to be there. And then he stayed, and things were up and down. We were all busy. And then, of course, Dave passed away very suddenly. And I reached out to Jimmy, and for both of us needed to talk. And I realized instantly why Dave was so happy to have Jimmy there, because I could tell immediately that he was an extraordinary human being, just looking at his eyes. I mean, he had the most beautiful blue eyes. And immediately we were exchanging ideas, and he was saying wonderful things, supportive things on behalf of my family. And I just wanted to, I feel so unbelievably sad because I was just getting to know him. And I feel like we've all been robbed of something, a great spirit, but obviously he still lives with us. So anyway, just wanted to share that and 2 words about that great friendship that I think enriched us all. Thank you.
I'm Robert Ovets, and I am totally moved to hear so many people had similar experiences with Jimmy over the years. I can't remember when I met him either. I've been thinking for the last couple hours. But the one thing that really kind of strikes me is that Jimmy's been called an activist, and I would actually say Jimmy was an organizer. He organized all of us. He taught us how to work together, how to use the tools of communication, how to hold meetings, how to put the camera in front of those with power to document their misdeeds. There wasn't a meeting where I didn't look around and found Jimmy and thought, hey, I'm in the right place. This is the right meeting to be at, right? He was always there with the camera. And I have a lot of experiences also of having worked with Jimmy on different issues. And I just wanted to tell you about one. After knowing him for a while, he said, "Hey, why don't you just come and do an interview program at the media center?" And we'll there's always people passing through Marin and the Bay Area, and we can invite them, and you can interview them, and interns and staff and I will produce the program. And I love the idea. And so we did a number of those. And I don't know exactly why we didn't continue doing it. But one of the things that I remember most about it was that Jimmy opened up the media center, not just as his office, but as his classroom to my daughter. And she was very small then. She's now 17. And I would bring her to some of those recording sessions, and he would show her around and let her sit in the control room and show her how they were making the program, and entertained her while I was in there for an hour with different people interviewing them. And over the years, students of mine find these programs still and say, hey, I saw that interview with you, and so, and that's just a living memory that I have of all the great work I did with Jimmy. And, the way that my daughter ended up in his classroom, his son, Games, also ended up in my classroom many years ago also. And I had this fantastic student and started getting to know him. And he told me who his dad was. And I was like, oh, it totally makes sense. But you're so different. And in the end, you did this incredible project. And I thought, it's so nice to get to know Jimmy's son, and because he got to know my daughter. And so that's the memory that really sticks with me that I wanted to share with everybody. Thank you for being here to celebrate Jimmy.
I'm here today because I owe a debt to Fish Bob. And I think we all share in a sense of wanting to reciprocate for what he gave us. I'm Peter B. Collins. I'm a recovering radio host. And for years I've been volunteering to host shows at the Community Media Center. And I always looked forward to walking through the door, and there are always great people at the reception desk. But as you entered the editing room, almost always, Fish Bob was right there. And Jimmy not only was this welcoming presence, but we would exchange a few remarks or comments. And he was always tipping me off to the action in the community. And whether it was to try to create more affordable housing, to address injustices here amid the entitled denizens of Marin County, or to talk a little tech. Jimmy was always friendly. People have commented about that twinkle in his eye. I thought that little stutter that he had at times was quite endearing. I never tried to complete his sentence. And he always made everybody who he engaged with feel special. And he had something to offer. It wasn't just shooting the breeze or idle chit-chat. And the debt that I feel to Jim is his enduring sense of justice, whether it was in the community or in other parts of the world. And in particular, I have pledged to make a contribution to the scholarship fund because I actually owe him a debt. Last year, well, let me first explain that I'm not a programmer, I'm a user. I'm not a coder. And I was producing a daily podcast. And the webmaster who had been working with me for years inconveniently moved to London. And I had a problem that I couldn't figure out. And so I put in a call to Jimmy. And kind of like AAA for tech problems. He was there in half an hour on his bike. And he blew in and he sat down with his Mac. And it took him about 90 minutes. But he said, don't worry. You just, work on your podcast. And he found that I had entered an extra character in a string. And then I repeated that 3 days in a row. And I never would have discovered that. And so once he had me back up and running, I said, well, Jim, thank you very much. This would have cost me a couple $100. Can I pay you? And I never got the idea that Jim suffered from having too much money. But he wouldn't accept it. And so today, I want to encourage you, to the extent you're able, to make a contribution to the fund. And I'm going to make a contribution that is a multiple of the $200 that I would have paid for those services. And I thank you all, and I thank Michael, Douglas, Cesar, and all the people who have come together here today to show our love and to attempt to pay back the debt that I think we all feel to Jimmy Fish Bob Geraghty.
Good afternoon. My name is Roger, and I'm with the Task Force on the Americas. We're a human rights group, an anti-imperialist human rights group, and Jimmy did tremendous stuff for us and with us. And I want to talk about a particular incident that took place about 10 years ago. Some of you may have been there. The Minutemen came to Marin County, and the Minutemen, if you're not familiar with them, they're a vigilante group that works on the border, anti-immigrant group. And they came to Marin County, believe it or not, to recruit. And we were out there and we were picketing them. And I bet a number of you were out there. And any of you, Carol, I bet you were there. And Carolina, yeah, everybody. There was a lot of us out there. And they were out there recruiting. And you know, to be honest, I was feeling kind of smug. I mean, we were the good guys. They were the bad guys. They were racist. We were cool. Jimmy did not have that attitude. Jimmy's attitude was that we're all brothers and sisters. And he's a real hero, because what he did was he went into the Minutemen meeting. He didn't know fear. And he spoke to them and he said, look, we have a lot in common. We don't think the government in Washington is representing us, and you don't think so. We disagree on immigration, but we have a lot in common. And he understood. He was a working class hero. He understood the commonality of people. And I asked him when he came out of that meeting, I said, how did it go? And he said, well, it went really well. Most of the people really were very receptive. And when they started doing their plans, what they were going to do, I just said, look, I'm going to oppose you guys, so I should leave. And he said, there was a guy who grabbed his arm. And Jimmy, I don't know if you knew this, but Jimmy, when he was younger, one of the many professions he had was as a bouncer. And Jimmy said to this guy, if you don't take your hand off me, I'll take you out. And hearing that, I wasn't even in the room. I was shaking, because Jimmy was a fighter for justice. Live on, Jimmy.
Well, I've known Jimmy for many years for in very different places. But I just want to tell you about one place that I shared with him on the border of Mexico and the United States. ICE it was like the turn of the century, and ICE was invading the canal. And the time that people were set out, Jim would be out there protecting people. And a group of us got together and formed a new organization, which we called MERC, Marin Immigrant Rights Coalition. And then we just got together and said, now what are we going to do? Let's do something really important. And the youngest of our group, whose mother is with us today, Francisco Diaz, was the one who had the idea. Why don't we make a movie? And then we made the movie called Why We Come, where we interview some 14 immigrants as to why they left their countries, what it was like to come, and their experience here. And Douglas was with us in that group too, quite a few people, and Carolina, there are quite a few people here. But then we decided there was a delegation to Tucson and over the border to Nogales, and we decided some of us should go on that and take pictures and get more of a feeling of what it was like at the border. And so we went, and Jim went, and we crossed the border into Nogales, and then a van took us to a small town called Altar. And this is where migrants prepare to start the long walking journey through the desert. And there was a lot of mafia around. We were warned, don't go anywhere, stay with the group, don't wander. Oh, I'll just give you a little comic rest for a moment and say that was when Jim, we were told that the coyotes there were called polleros, which would be like chicken herders. And so then Jim said, I am the pollero. And he said, and then Carolina and I and some other people were his pollos, and he was going to keep us under control, that we couldn't leave the group, that we had to be right there all together. Anyway, I will always remember that. And then in Altar, another van took us to the very place where the migrants start to walk into the desert. And that was so impressive, such a unwelcoming place. And we saw a lot of old shoes, and Jim took pictures of the cactus plants with all their terrible thorns that the people would be going through. And I felt that he was very, very impressed by that, as I was too, and other members of the group were also. And I just wanted to share that with you. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Steve Bingham, and I'll be very brief because I guess we need to move on. But and I share so many of the other thoughts that people have expressed today about Jimmy, who I've known since the Marin Peace and Justice Coalition days. But the one little incident that I want to mention, because it hasn't been, was he and I got involved in a small group looking at how to design the new districts in San Rafael when San Rafael decided to have district elections. And up to that point, my relation with Jimmy at demonstrations and in meetings, I didn't have too much of a sense of the technological expertise that he had, other than with cameras and recording things. And the public was allowed to comment on the proposal that the consultant made. And the consultant used a very complicated software program that's used all over the country, I think, to design political districts. And we were all kind of intimidated by it. And Jimmy had absolutely no problem volunteering to try to figure out what we wanted to do was to figure out a way to design a district that had the maximum number of Latinos in it. And we couldn't figure out, unfortunately, a way to do it so that there would be a guarantee of majority Latino in the district. But we still wanted to maximize, since, as some of you may not know, there's never been a city council person, I believe, who's Latino elected in San Rafael. And so Jimmy went to work with this complicated software and designed the district that includes the canal. And if you look at a district map, you will see that there's this peculiar spike that goes up Lincoln Avenue all the way to Terra Linda, because there are apartment buildings on either side where there's a very significant population of Latinos living. So I sort of think of that now today as that sort of Jimmy spike in that district that will live forever. Miss you, Jimmy.
Hi, I'm Bill Carney, and I wanted to pay homage to Jimmy as an ideal board member. I had the honor of serving with him on the board of Sustainable San Rafael for about 12 years. And he was ideal because, A, he knew everybody in San Rafael, right? I mean, or at least the best folks, right? To those who are here today and have been here today. No, his circles were just amazing. He also had, a particular skill set that he brought to the cause, which was social media and communications, really, of all sorts. And he had a very persistent passion for an issue, and that issue in Jimmy's case was bicycling, which evolved into electric bikes, right? So he just adopted that issue, and he used our organization as a platform for that issue and getting that issue out there. So he had all of these kind of ingredients for, making him a really successful and influential board member. He was, of course, wonderful at tactics. And the story I wanted to share, one of my earliest memories was we were plotting some appearance at the city council, and Jimmy said, well, look, I'll go in and rough them up, and then you come in and be the reasonable one. So, I mean, that's a tactic that I learned. I kind of still kind of follow that tactic along. He, of course, was extraordinarily tactical at communications, and in fact, his presence communicated, right? He made a statement, and riding down 4th Street, as we've heard numerous times, on his bicycle or his e-bike, he made a statement just by, and people would stop and they would be like, who is that guy? Who is that guy? Which is kind of the question that we're asking today, right? Who was this guy? And it was always a statement very much from the heart that Jimmy made. It was a very simple statement. This is who I am, and I'm here, and I'm here to help make this community a better place. That was a statement. And, we all now have the opportunity to carry on that great work. So thank you all for that.
Hi, everybody. My name is Mary Kedash, and I'm with Nobody. I am a member of the Community Media Center of Marin, and that's how I met Jimmy. I would go to volunteer there, and he would be in the corner and smile that smile. He would say hello to me. He always remembered my name. And I wanted to come up here representing all the people that were affected by his sweetheart. I always felt so safe when he was around without knowing who he was. I didn't know who he was. I went to his Zoo memorial and wept the whole time because I learned who he was. But until I got there, all I had of him was this powerful, kind, sweet energy that I knew if I was in trouble, he would take. I felt seen. I felt protected. And I can only imagine all of the people out there like me, that he changed by his very darling presence. So on behalf of so many of those people, thank you, Jimmy. We shall miss you, and I'll do my best to carry on your kind empathy. Thank you.
My friend to the Rex. So my name is Maika Llorens Gulari, and I'm actually the council member for District 1, the first one. And I am so thankful for Jimmy. I think I met him, I don't know, about a decade ago at a parent services project. And I was on the school board for almost 6 years, and he was in so many meetings. You could always count on him to be there. And I think about Jimmy that he was so real, but not just that he was real, but he made us being real, because we knew that we couldn't, don't want to use that word, but yeah, like bullshit. So I think the accountability that he had, and he was somebody that I would really, really listen to. I would be waiting for him, whether it was in his social media, but it was a person that I always listened to. So I will really miss that voice, especially going into District 1 now. But I'm so thankful for all of you, and to the family. I really appreciate you all because you have great genes, and really appreciate you sharing Jim with us, Jimmy's. He was amazing, so thank you.
Okay, so it looks like there may be no more people who want to speak, but I do want to have a brief moment here to honor a number of people who died this year, who were formative in everything that Jimmy did, I would say. Not all of them, but some of them. So there's Emily Sykes from the Marin Peace and Justice Coalition and Social Justice Center. Alan Barnett, who is also Marin Peace and Justice Coalition and so many different things. Carrie Pearson, who was a part of the Change the Name effort going back, I think, 25 years. The man tried like 3 times, 5 times to get the name changed. And John Young, Dave Curry, and Man Min Phan, a Vietnamese leader. So we have Roger Stoll to play a little guitar for us. And then if you want to hang around for the finale, it's The King in Overalls by Jimmy's Friends. Here's Roger Stoll.
Jimmy used to come to these potlucks that we'd have, usually at Buff and Cindy's house. And I'd be there, and my partner Lucienne would be there, and Meg would be there. And the personnel changed a little bit over the years. The late Bill Hard was there. We'd have New Year's parties there, New Year's parties that would end before midnight. And sometimes I'd play guitar, and Jim seemed to like it. So here's one more piece for Jimmy. Air on a G string.
Oh, our new band name is The Overalls. AKA Friends of Jimmy. Douglas, we need you up here.
He's on his way.
This song is called Jimmy Jimmy Justice, the King in Overalls by Douglas Mundo. Vámonos. Oh, sorry.
Before we end, I just want to report back to you with the last check that we received. We have raised today $4,665. So we're still expecting a few more. So that will be, I'm expecting there will be at least $5,000 that we will raise. And that's how we can start Jimmy's Memorial Fund. All right? Just to be accountable, and we will work for this. And now, what you have been waiting for, probably. All right. This is called The King in Overalls. All right. Get ready to support. All right. Here we go.
Jimmy, Jimmy Justice, the king in overalls. Oh, Jimmy, Jimmy Justice, the king in overalls. He drove his bike through town to create a better world. He raised his hand for justice, well, let me Geraghty go. He dragged his bike around with the Canal Patrol. He ran with the Canal Patrol. Hey, hey! He rallied with 10,000 por un mundo mejor. Hey! He drove his bike through town to meetings with the boys, to meet the city council and many town halls. He used the media center to create a better world.
All right. Justice. Raise your hand for justice. The bicycle. All right. The bicycle. Come on, the bicycle. Ready? Right.
Jimmy, Jimmy Justice, the king in overalls. Oh, Jimmy, Jimmy Justice, the king in overalls. He dragged his bike through town to create a better world. This razor was for justice, to create a better world, a better Marin County, affordable for all. It is time for some change. It is time to be bold. Oh, Jimmy, Jimmy Justice, the king in overalls. Oh, Jimmy, Jimmy Justice, the king in overalls. He drove his van through town to create a better world.
Goodbye, my friend. How do you guys like it? One more time? But this time, we're going to make sure you guys stand up. You sing with us, and we're going to do the justice and the bicycle, right? And if you want to do the bicycle, I mean, any way you want to do it, that will be fine. One more time. Now, this is the last time to say goodbye, my friend. Thank you once again for attending today's Jimmy's Memorials, and thank you to the family for allowing us to be part of this amazing celebration as well. God bless you all, and once again, the king in the overalls.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Catherine.
Here we go. It is in the back of your program. If you want to read, the lyric is in the back of your program. Here we go.
Jimmy, Jimmy Justice, the king in overalls. Oh, Jimmy, Jimmy Justice, the king in overall. He drove his bike through town to create a better world. He raised his hand for justice while on migratical. He drove his bike around with the canal patrol. He rallied with 10,000 por un mundo mejor. He drove his bike through town to meetings with the boss, to meet the city council and many town halls. He used the media center to create a better world.
Oh, Catherine! And the violin, Catherine John. Thank you, Catherine. Juju! And the bass. Here we go once again. Ready? Jesse. Up, up. Bicycle. Ready? Alright, let's get ready for Jimmy Justice once again.
Jimmy, Jimmy Justice, the king in overalls. Oh, Jimmy, Jimmy Justice, the king in overalls. He drove his bike through town to create a better world. Let's raise our voice for justice to create a better world. A better Marin County, affordable for all. It is time for some change. It is time to be bold.
One more time.
Jimmy, Jimmy Justice, the king in overalls. Oh, Jimmy, Jimmy Justice, the king in overalls. He drove his bike through town to create a better world.
Goodbye, my friend. Thank you. Goodbye, my friend Jimmy. Thank you.
Jared.
Jerry, sorry. Linju, Julia, and Douglas Mundo. Thank you so much. Thank you to the Media Center as well, Michael and all the crew. And to the amazing food, Isabella's Catering, and all the volunteers at the Multicultural Center of Marin, and all of you who make this possible. And thank you for honoring Jimmy once again by creating the scholarship fund and the scholarship as well from the Media Center for underserved students who want to attend those trainings at the Media Center. God bless you all. See you around. All right, and thank you for coming. Gracias. Hasta luego. Thank you. Thank you, Craig, Cesar, once again, for all the support.